Kohala, YAHAWAH, Bashim, YAHAWAH, Bashim, Barakatah, YAHAWAH, Barakatah, YAHAWAH, Barakatah, YAHAWAH Shai. Shalom. It's your brother, Obadiaying, and I want to say shalom. I'm going to get started today. Pretty much doing a little commentary here because we need it. And the Most High, I pray in Yahawah's name that He ordains it as well. What I want to kind of talk about today a little bit is something that the Ruach HaKodesh and the Holy Spirit put on my spirit today before we get into the subject of the lesson today. And this is got to be some commentary that has to be done because of all of what's happening. First of all, we as a people have been lost in our way for more than 2,000 years. The majority of it is of our own doing because of disobedience and complete disregard for our Heavenly Father, YAHAWAH, in terms of what He has brought from His heart and from His love to us. And we have allowed ourselves to become seduced by a couple of different things. The pride of, at one point in time, we knew exactly who we were to the Most High. That was a very, very long time ago when we knew that. And in knowing that, we disregarded the importance of it to a very, very large and very, very harmful degree. And now that we are being awakened, I guess that's a good word, in many regards to the various levels of the awakening in general. We, as a people, still have a problem with being able to accept what it is that we don't know about how powerful and awesome the Most High YAHAWAH, the creator of all things that will ever exist and that will have ever existed, really is. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to act as though I can understand that or explain that level of the mind of YAHAWAH or even YAHWAH Shai. I'm not even going to try to attempt to go in that direction because that would be ill-advised and that would not be true in terms of me as just a regular Obadiah, a servant. And that's what Obadiah means, a servant of the Most High. What I will try to say is whatever the Most High and the Ruach HaKodesh and what He allows her to put through me to say, if that's what it will be. There are various levels of knowledge that are being imparted by the Most High and opening up and bringing forward. To me, it really doesn't matter who gets to see this or doesn't get to see it, because who's supposed to see it will see it, and those who are not supposed to see it just won't see it. I'm not interested in how many individuals are looking at this or looking at any of the things that the Most High allows to be said from this particular channel. I don't care about that at all. I just care about doing what he wants me to do in terms of bringing it out in the way he wants it. The gate is a straight gate and narrow one, not a wide gate with multiple. Not to say he doesn't use multiple and large numbers, but that's not what he said he was doing. Plus, he clearly said there would be just a remnant. Who the remnant are, whether I'm there or not, I don't know. I'm just going to do whatever the Most High decides he wants me to do, and he's already made the decision about who is and who isn't. There are various levels that are being given to various different degrees of individuals, whether they be associated with some camps or whether they be individually appointed by the Most High. And even some that are not appointed that get a smell of the essence of truth and can impart some information based on what level they get. There are so many different, I guess, understandings that people believe they understand, if that makes sense. The belief of an understanding seems to, at this point in time, the way Yahawah is bringing it forward is completely and utterly under his complete control. He uses whoever he uses in the way he uses them at the level he decides he wants to use them. It is not of us, of those, or any of us who have been imparted some semblance of knowledge of the Most High to determine or debunk or act as though because you're in this level of truth that you know more than what is another knowing. And what another is knowing is not necessarily for you to correct. Because you may be knowledgeable at a level that the Most High Yahawah has brought you forward to with the guidance of Yahweh Shai and the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit on you, and you impart this knowledge to your brother, it doesn't give you the right, nor does it give you the authority to determine that you have all the truth and complete truth, and then call your brother illegitimate or wrong, or he is not knowledgeable of what the Most High is imparting. It is true. The scripture does speak to the fact that the Most High will blind some and he will awaken some. Then he also will filter out those who claim to be awake but are limited in their awakenedness in terms of where they are. Their position may be just to impart the part they're given. It may be just to impart about awakening and filter those scriptures that speak specifically to that area of concern. You may get deeper. You may get information that brings you to a point where you can expound on how the awakening affects the spiritual part of who you are as an awakening individual of the chosen seed of the Most High. It may bring you to that point. It may bring you to a point where you go the awakening, the spiritual awakening, and in some direction to go in that awakening, and then to the third level, which is what is your purpose opposite all of those things happening in your awakening. He may take you to that level. He may not allow you to understand or see any of this, any of what it is that's happening in general, to the entire planet as well as to the individuals that are on the planet. But one thing is perfectly clear is that everyone who is either awake or asleep can see what is happening to the global society that has been allowed to, I guess, perpetuate a form of existence right now. Every one on the planet can see what is happening. Whether they acknowledge it as the hand of the Most High YAHAWAH, who they ignorantly call God, is doing it or not, ultimately they may fall back in some semblance to that understanding. Others who are completely oblivious and purposely brought into the obliviousness of their sleep may bring forth another understanding of it has everything to do with the physical ability of created beings or beings that are here on this planet in whatever measure they believe they exist or understand how they become in existence. So in saying that, they may not agree in most cases with what we in this particular truth understand from prophetically seeing things happen right now in this time and frame. One of the things that I will try to expound on a little bit here in this commentary before we get into some scripture is the fact that the individuals who are in the driver's seat, so to speak, or who are in control of this particular planet and time period, are allowed to be in control of this particular time period, but they are not controlling it from an ultimate platform. The Most High controls everything He created, and that includes all creation. So let's not get things twisted up into believing that any entity, whether it is created for good or for bad, has the ability to operate outside of what YAHAWAH decides, who they ignorantly call God, will into motion or into practice or into process. He controls all. He determines who gets to know, who doesn't get to know, and what He wants to bring out and what He doesn't want to bring out. Now, to touch on what I call the icing on this cake of awakening. That's not my topic, but that's what I'm going to say right now. The icing on the cake of this awakening is centered around a couple of different things that I believe from the Raw Hawk edition, the Holy Spirit showing me is very prevalent. That's coming to what a boil, and then at some point it has to overflow, and it's starting to do that. The sacred word and the knowledge that was given by the Most High was given by His prerogative to decide what lineage of individuals He wanted to bring it through, as well as what particular communication methods He wanted to bring it through, and in turn how it shall be understood in bringing this information forward. Now, everything He says and everything He brings out of His nature and his way of communicating is so holy, and it is so beyond what we can imagine righteous, that when it was brought out and then revealed to the entire existence of His creation, what ends up happening is individuals who are brought into this creational process that are to affect His outcome of prophecies fulfill specific roles. Now, some of these roles that are fulfilled and still being fulfilled are the roles of bringing things into a controlled narrative that suits an agenda that supports their position right now in this world. Example, if you know that there's a Hebrew or a thing called Hebrew sacred language, and you don't see in that Hebrew language a role that is going to be profitable for your particular created lineage, then of course what you do is you find ways to subvert, or you find ways to antagonize the language, the understanding, and the information and communication in a way where you can present your lineage as being involved in it in a very important fashion. So when you go in and you say, all right, we see who we are in this sacred word, this sacred communication that's being brought to the entire existence of creation. And what we're going to do at this point is we're going to do everything we can to present only what we feel will benefit the position that we plan to operate in. And so this is what you see happening at this time. So you have a lineage of individuals who have been created, and naturally we know who they are. They are showing a supremacy type position in terms of their application to dealing with everything in creation. And so when they show this supremacy type process, what they do is, in essence, is they say to themselves, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that whoever we involve ourselves with or get close to, we will enforce our understanding through whatever seductive or subliminal opportunities and positions we can use to do so. So by doing that, what they have done as a lineage and culture of individuals that have been created, they have created this particular process where they've made everything that is communicative to the sacred knowledge that has been brought by the Most High and allowed by Him, of course, to be out of what they coin context. Okay, so if we can understand that everything that does not fit a specific narrative of the power of the individuals that have been created to create this narrative, will say everything in the form of total creation, whether it be the planet or what's on the planet or the people on the planet, they are completely out of context. None of the way the Most High has created things in the beginning are in the context of His truth of what and the way He created them. None of it is like that right now. Case in point, if none of what the Most High has created is in the context of His sacred creation, and then we're talking about everything on all platforms, then who is perpetuating this narrative of control allowed by Yahawah, Vashem Yahushua, who they ignorantly call God and Jesus, is allowed to operate in this way? It is rolling fulfilled prophecy, and it is now rolling. And so the lineage of the culture of individuals that have been created that are now operating in this completely out of context offering of everything from understanding that understanding and the communication of that communication and the presentation of all of the above, it's all out of context from the Father. So therefore, what information is given, several individuals on several different levels, what they are doing is they can only understand and surmise and then interpret or reinterpret information based on what is given to them in this out of context format that is spread upon all creation. So in essence, what we're saying is, if you say that this is the only way you can understand this because this is your archaeological position and this is your way of what you have been taught and what you have been given to understand based on what you could surmise from the metabolism that has been given to you by the Most High to divulge a way of being in the know about what is going in prophetic truth. If you say this is what you know and this is all you know and you're following that path, that's not saying it's wrong because the Most High is directing it in that way. But what it does say is you may not be privy to all that is still being revealed. Because the Most High says more knowledge will be revealed. And in most cases, some of the knowledge that is being revealed is being revealed in ways of a literary fashion. It may be given in certain documents that have not been revealed yet, and some that have completely been revealed. Now, of course, the Most High speaks and says what he means, and he means what he says. So when he says all things will be revealed and all things will be known through the Ruach HaKodesh, which they ignorantly call the Holy Spirit, this is so very true, and there's no taking away from it. But he did not say that they were all revealed now and then there's no more to be revealed. He said all things will be revealed. So that means there has to be more that is being revealed. So you cannot sit and just say to yourselves, we have all the knowledge we need. We don't need to go any further, because he's still revealing things, and he has so many methods upon which he decides to impart these revealings. Because some of the stuff that we know now, we didn't know a couple hundred years ago, even a couple, not even 100, maybe just less than 100 years ago, or more than 1,000 years ago. We didn't know certain things, and a lot of stuff has been deliberately put away and is getting revealed, but the Most High is making them bring it out, because they don't have any choice. And their knowledge of when they bring it out has a lot to do with, they don't understand why they're doing it, but they feel like when they do bring it out, they're bringing it out to the benefit of the lineage of their culture and their contempt for the fact that they have this misconception about what is in context. So they're just bringing it out, and the Most High affects their mind, like he did with Cyrus, when he had Cyrus go ahead and be, as he is a pagan entity, and have the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit, come upon Cyrus and have him, when the children come out of captivity, go back and build the temple and offer the assistance and the financial support to get that part of it done when the children came out of captivity during that Babylonian captivity in that time period. But see, this is what a lot of us are not privy to understand, because we're not there yet in terms of what the Most High decides to reveal. So when he does this, there are some he will awaken to this understanding, and then there are others that are not awakened to it fully as of yet. So, case in point, there's a lot of different Akim around the planet right now, and around in the world, and in this country too, specifically, who are teaching at various levels. Now, the levels that they're teaching at are very consistent, and they become redundant in terms of the presentation and the perpetuation of continuing to bring it out, which they have to do this, because there are some that you still have to touch who are coming into the new portion of the awakening, and they need to hear it from that standpoint and then move forward. Some are more advanced in terms of their awakening period, not necessarily in their knowledge, and then they need to understand it, and it needs to come out to them in that way also, so they can bring forward a method of prophetic understanding the way the Most High said it should go. Now, what I'm trying to draw here is the fact that we know that the individuals who were created by the Most High in their particular culture and lineage, who have who are very divisive, and they're built to be divisive, have put away things that are coming out in ways they can't control. And now that it is coming out in ways that can't be controlled, it doesn't refute what you understand now about truth. It brings clarity to what the Most High said when he spoke the fact that all things will be revealed in its time. Now, he didn't say exactly what time that would be other than this end time in certain portions of it. So I believe we are there as far as that goes. Now, the other side of it is when the Most High decides he wants to reveal something to whomever, it's really his prerogative the way he decides to reveal it. You know, we say, of course, we research and find out that Paleo Hebraic knowledge and information speaks to YAHAWAH as the Father's name, and YAHAWAH as the Son's name. Now, we have other individuals that are being taught and learning and researching, and they're growing and learning, and they're saying other renditions of the Father and the Son's name in the Yahweh and the Yeshua, in the Elohim, and in different methods, in Allah, and different methods that they speak. And it is based upon what level of knowledge the Father imparts and awakens their mind to what level he wants them to understand. Is what they understand wrong, and is a position for us to say, you don't say things right, you are not speaking truth in that manner, that's incorrect. I don't know that that's the way that we should be operating in that method in terms of telling someone that this and that is wrong. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying you can't correct people. What I'm saying is that the level of correction for the individual and the knowledge that has been awakened in them needs to be adjusted based on the truth that is foundational to the point where the Most High says that cannot be changed. That's an area of correction that is supposed to be done in a way where it doesn't have to be confrontational. I've seen many times, not only personally, but on different teachings and YouTube presentations, of confrontational, knowledge-based offering being presented to the lineage that is very contemptuous in terms of their content and what they believe they should have as a people who are awakening, and as well as those who are of seemingly the same lineage, but at the same time don't necessarily have a grasp of what it is that the Akim are saying in terms of, this is your part, this is your truth, this is what you should understand. Some of the people who we're talking to are our people, and some are not our people. It's really a choice that the Most High makes and has made already, and has already taken action to make sure that his messengers, who they call angels, who we know will do the separation for the Most High at that time and at that pace. We, on the other hand, are to deliver a message, but the message in which we deliver is not a message that has to be in a position of our judgment. We have no heaven to put anyone in. We have no hell to put anyone in. But we can cause a misunderstanding of the areas of that concern based on how we address what we've been given by the Most High through our metabolism, at what level we can understand. I hope that doesn't be too confusing for you, but I'm trying to give you this understanding from what it's been given to me as the way it is. I don't know if we will know enough about how many will actually be awakened prior to the end of the process that we're about to experience at a very, very high and extremely wonderful level. I call it wonderful because the level of judgment and justice is going to be nothing that we can imagine. We can think we can, but we really will not be able to. I hope this part of the commentary was very beneficial to you. I normally don't do this much that far in the commentary, like 30 minutes. But I thought the Most High showed me that it was important for me to do that. I'm going to try to go into the scripture now and talk more about my subject matter today, and then see if we can close this out. And then that's going to be it for what I know today, unless I get more from the Most High to do anymore. Subject matter today, Obadiaying the judgment and justice of Isaiah chapter 66. And the reason the Father gave me this, and through the YAHAWAH and the Ruach HaKodesh, was because in Isaiah chapter 66, basically, the book of Isaiah has a message of salvation as a central theme, while presenting both the blessings and the judgments of Yahweh's covenants with Israel. And, next to and not behind mercy and compassion, the Most High is going to do everything that he said he's going to do, and nobody's changing anything like that. No, and I said this before in previous lessons, no entity that the Most High has created will change what the Most High is going to do. You're not going to change it. He's going to go fulfill everything he has to fulfill. He has been fulfilling it, and nothing's changing that. So that's understanding that central theme, while presenting both, like I said, the blessings, the judgments of Yahweh's covenants with Israel. And that's important because he made that decision, and we don't get to control that. Now, starting off in 66, Father says, "Thus saith the Lord, the heavens are my throne, the earth my footstool. What house can you build for me? Question. Where is the place of my rest?" Now, there's precepts to this that we're going to speak to. 2 Samuel 7, 4 through 7. And we're going to go there as well and read the precepts. But let me just touch that a little bit. I got plenty of my notes over here now. Let me move some of these pens out of the way. Get into this. Get my notes over here and over here. Let me get my Bible out here. Okay. All right. So let's go to 2 Samuel, because that's going to be the first precept we're going to touch. But I'm not going to walk past the fact that what I just said in reference to his throne being his footstool as being the earth, and his throne, the earth and my footstool, right? I'm not going to walk past that. I'm going to make sure that I address that. So let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 7. And we're going to go through 4 through 7, right? All right. And it came to pass that night that the word of Yahweh power came unto Nathan, saying, "Go and tell my servant David, thus saith Yahweh power the Lord, shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in, whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle." So basically, what I'm getting from this is the Father saying, you cannot create anything that can house me or my complete understanding. You can't do it. You can't build anything that could house that. But he's not saying that there will not be methods upon communication that will be given by him through what he has created and who he has created. So the house in itself is not necessarily a physical facility. Thus saith the Lord, verse 1, the heavens are my throne. If the entire heavens are the Father's throne, a throne is a place to sit upon and rule. So nothing can be done outside of his throne that he doesn't control and rule. The earth, his footstool. So the earth is just a location, a actual created facility that he can determine whether he needs it or doesn't need it, based on the fact that we use footstools and we don't use them all the time. Sometimes the footstool is necessary, sometimes we don't use it at all. It's put over there and there it is until you need it again. This is a rough analogy, but I'm just trying to give you an indication that the Father can do whatever he likes to do, whenever he needs to do it, and that's how he's operating, because no one can control that. And he says, what house can you build for me? Question. In other words, who thinks they can actually do anything for the Father that he would accept based on what would be right? Could you really think we could deliver something that would be comparable to what he would be wanting to abode in? And one of those particular locations to me would be this particular physical entity that he created. He created these vessels, and he says he will dwell in them as well as YAHAWAH. So what house can you build for me? So is this particular vessel, is it being built in a way to honor and edify the Most High Yahweh? Are you keeping it in a state that once he's given it to you, that he will want to inhabit it? Or are you not? That's a good point. What are you doing? What are you reading? What are you putting in yourself? What are you excluding from your brain and your knowledge that the Most High would need in you to be a place for him to dwell? And then, of course, where is the place of his rest? We know not where his rest is completely. We know that he speaks of his rest, and his rest being within himself, granted because he is the rest that he offers. So knowing only that much, that's all we can expound on. We can't say any more other than that. And as I read there, now let's go to the next precept, which is going to be 1 Kings, which 8:27. It says, "But Yahweh indeed dwell on earth." So he's heavens. The earth is in his heavens, so clearly he can dwell on earth as well, and dwell within the earth and do the things he needs to do, because the earth is not outside of heaven. It's in the heavenly realm of his creation. So he can dwell where he needs to dwell. Okay. We got validation also in Acts chapter 7 in the New Testament, because you got a lot of folk who be trying to exclude the Old Testament and want to just deal with the New Testament. And to me, it's all one testament. It's what the Father says resonates to everything that he expounds on. It's not specific to one area of the book. But a lot of people don't understand that. But over time, maybe they will get to learn that part of it. Okay, Acts chapter 7. We're going to read 49. So 7 and 49 says, "Heaven is my throne, and earth is my footstool. What house will ye build me, saith Yahweh the Lord? Or what is the place of my rest?" So you can see that 2 Samuel said it, and then Acts chapter 7 said it. So basically what we're saying here is that the apostles are drawing from the Old Testament, or they're drawing from where the book, before the book was a New Testament, so to speak, or what I would say a interpretation of the old, just bringing it forward to validate everything that's said in the old and the new. It's said in both places. Now let's go to 17 and read Acts 17 verse 24. All right. So here we go. 17 and 24. Yahawah power that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord, Yahawah of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So again, that validates the fact that a lot of these facilities that you see that are on these corners everywhere in this on this earth, and these particular types of facilities that are so big and monstrous in their monumental status, the Most High is not in any of them. That's not where he is. He said he's not there. So that's a false conception and deception that's bringing forth in this world by those that were created in that lineage, in that culture, who are now Job 9:24, and they are doing the things that are wicked. And what they are doing, they're trying to perpetuate them and to present them as though they are righteous when they are not. It's very clear. Okay, now we're going to go to Psalm 66 and 2, verse 2. My hand made all these things when all of them came to be. Oracle of Yahawah power. This is the one whom I approve, the afflicted one, crushed in spirit, who trembles at my word. Okay. So in saying that, you have Psalms 24, right? And the Father is saying, Psalm 24, 1 through 2, the earth is Yahawah's and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Okay? That's the precept off of 66:2. 66:3, the one slaughtering an ox, striking a man, sacrificing a lamb, breaking a dog's neck, making an offering of pig's blood, burning incense, honoring an idol, these have chosen their own ways and taken pleasure in their own abominations. You hear what the Father said here? That's 66:3. And we're going to go with 11. And the swine, though he divideth the hoof, okay, that's in Leviticus, divideth the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean unto you. Okay? So, in essence, what we're saying here is the practices of this particular dispensation right now, this time period, and the lineage of the culture and the people who are in control of that particular practice, they do abominable things across the board, and their recompense is coming upon them swiftly, and it continues to come upon them swiftly, and they have a very reprobate way of accepting it. And if that's the way they choose to operate, because they don't see the truth, because the Most High is not allowing them to, then clearly they must dwell in it. Okay? All right. 66:4. I in turn will choose affliction for them and bring upon them what they fear, because when I called, no one answered. When I spoke, no one listened, because they did what was evil in my sight, and things I do not delight in, they choose. Hear the word of Yahawah, you who tremble at his word. Your kin who hate you and cast you out because of my name say, may Yahawah the Lord show his glory, that we may see your joy, but they shall be put to shame. So that's 4 and 5, because I wanted to get all of that. And that's akin to Isaiah 65:12. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall bow down to the slaughter. All right, that's what he has plans for him. Okay, that's not all of it, but that's part of that particular. Let's get the rest of it. Isaiah 65. Okay. All right. And we were at 12, right? Yeah. And slaughter, down to the slaughter, because when I called, ye did not answer, and when I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before mine eyes, and did choose that wherein I did not delight not. Okay. And then, yep, that was that. And then we're going to go to Proverbs 1:24 for the next precept on that. Proverbs 1:24. Shalaki. Let me get there. Proverbs 1:24. Because I have called and ye refused, I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity, and I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. See, that's akin to 66:4 and Proverbs 1:24. See, we can see that this is where we are right at this point. We have gotten to that point where the Most High, he's just doing what he has to do. He's not even concerned anymore about the fact that we're not paying attention to all of the things that are clearly being shown that are happening across the board on this planet. And we're easily deceived and seduced into believing that there's something else going on other than the Most High doing this. And we're under this misconception that the Most High is just about love and wonderful, beautiful, caring things for every creature that he's created on the planet. But that's not the way he operates. He operates in balance. And his balance is such that everything that is done will be balanced. And they don't understand that. And if that means that there's a specific amount of flesh and individuals and entities that will have to face judgment, then his judgment is just. And that's exactly correct. Okay, we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 7 and pick up a precept there. Jeremiah 7. Okay. And we're going to go to 13 on Jeremiah 7. And now because ye have done all these works, saith the Lord Yahawah, and I spake unto you, raising up early and speaking, but ye heard not. And I called you, but ye answered not. See, he's reaching out to us in every way that our metabolism that he created could understand. And you know, the thing is, even the spirit in the individuals who were created for destruction and created for wickedness, their spirit can understand and hear Yahawah also, but they don't respond to his calling. That's what he said here. He said in 13, and now because ye have done all these works, and this is what they're doing, saith Yahawah, and I spake unto you, you know, he spoke unto us, and he's speaking to us all the time. You rising up early and speaking, but ye heard not, and I called you, but ye answered not. What is it going to take to get the message across? He's got waves of different judgment and correction coming. Okay, that brings me to Luke 21:25. All right, and we need to go there and read that. Okay, Psalms 65:7. Who seals up the roaring of the waves and the tumult of the peoples? He does that. He controls that area. Isaiah 51:15. For I am the Lord, Yahawah, who stirs up the sea and its waves roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. See, he's the Father who is going to do correction, and if he has to use his judgment in a very forceful way, he will do that. He doesn't have no problem with that. Zechariah chapter 10:11. And they will pass through. See, they're going to pass through the fire. Jeremiah 51:42. The sea has come up over Babylon. And you can see that that's what's happening. The sea of iniquity and the sea of judgment is coming up upon all of the areas of Babylon that are geographically located everywhere on the planet. And the Most High is not playing. He is doing this because he's sending you a message, and the message you're not paying attention to. And when we try to enlighten you about it, we get consternation that comes back in the form of oh, that's all out of context. Well, right now, everything that's outside of Yahawah's truth is out of context. So you have no understanding of what context is, because if you don't understand that, if it's not under his righteous hand in terms of his specific direction, it's all out of context. What you read, what you try to read, what you try to understand, what you think you believe and understand, the whole system of creation, the Father, if it's not under his particular specific direction and control as well as understanding, it's all out of context. It really is. Okay. All right. We're going to Joel chapter 3:16 for 66:6. Let me read that. A voice roaring from the city, a voice from the temple, the voice of Yahawah, the Lord, rendering recompense to his enemies. Okay, so let's go to Joel and hear what the Father said about that. Okay. All right. He said he's going to render recompense to his enemies. So let's find out. We're going to go to Joel. Joel chapter 3. And we're going to 16. 3 and 16. Oh, that was English. I'm sorry. Shocking. Yeah, go back to Joel. There he is. I had it. Okay. The Lord Yahawah shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord Yahawah will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am Yahawah, the Lord, your power, your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and the mountains shall come forth of the house of the Lord Yahawah, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation, for I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord Yahawah dwelleth in Zion. See that? The Father's not playing. He's definitely showing you he's cleansing it and he's cleaning it up. That's why he said that. 66, 7 and 9. Behold, she is in labor. She gives birth. Before her pains come upon her, she delivers a male child. Whoever heard of such a thing, or whoever saw the like? Can a land be brought forth in one day, or a nation be born in a single moment? Question. Yet Zion was scarcely in labor when she bore her children. Shall I bring a mother to the point of birth, and yet not let her child be born? Question. Saith Yahawah the Lord. Or shall I, who bring to birth, yet close her womb? Question. Saith your power, Yahawah. So clearly the Father is saying birth pains are happening. We can see it all around the planet. The birth pains are the judgment. They are the absolute conditions that all of the creatures of every lineage and culture are experiencing on the planet at this particular time. And he's no respecter of any individual culture or lineage opposite his chosen people. Like I said, opposite his specific chosen people who have been deliberately hidden, and now it's coming out and rolling out in prophecy leaps and bounds. And in the process of this happening, the cover-up isn't working anymore. And now it's at a point where it's the knowledge is just blowing out like a volcano and just coming down like lava and covering everything and everyone who would have anything to do with trying to hide who the Most High's chosen people are. It's just not working anymore in terms of trying to hide. It's not fruitful and it's not going to work, but they're still trying it anyway. That's what Isaiah 49 says, 18 through 21. Let's get that. Isaiah 49. (18 through 21). All right, there we go. Lift up thine eyes round about, and behold, all these gather themselves together and come to thee. As I live, saith Yahawah power of the Lord, thou shalt surely clothe thee with them all, as with an ornament, and bind them on thee as a bride doeth. For thy waste and thy desolate places, and the land of thy destruction shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants, and they that swallow thee up shall be far away. See, this speaks specifically to what is going on right now with everything that's happening over in Iran, here and everywhere else. Okay, let me hit you with that again. Reading this is like reading the next today's newspaper in advance of tomorrow's news. It just brings it right out. Okay, it says here, for thy waste and thy desolate places and the land of thy destruction shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants, and they that swallow thee up shall be far away. And see, that's like I said, that really speaks here. We have a lot of waste and desolate places that are happening in this land, in thy land of destruction. So right now, Australia's burning up. There's all kinds of things happening all over our soil here. The Father's not going to destroy the planet, but He is definitely taking care of correcting those who are on the planet in specific areas, because when He corrects the people, a lot of times He uses the resources on the planet to correct them with. So therefore, you see that this destruction is happening. Even, it says, shall even now be too narrow by reason of the inhabitants. So you're running out of space and location and place to be safe, because the inhabitants are so vast that it's just no place for you to actually look at any restoration for any place, anywhere. And they that swallowed thee up shall be far away. And the recompense that's coming, the Father uses nations to come against other nations, because this is one of His methods of operation in terms of correction. This is what He does. The children which thou shalt have after thou hast lost the other shall say again in thy ears, the place is too strait for me. Give place to me that I may dwell. Then shalt thou say in thine heart, who hath begotten me these, seeing I have lost my children and am desolate, a captive, and removing to the fro? And who hath brought up these? Because I was left alone, these were had they been. See, we got a lot of stuff happening where a lot of the children that we have are going to we're going to lose a lot of them based on the decisions that are being made by people who control this particular this period of time. These mishaps that they call, and these bad judgments are all being controlled by the Most High. They're not going to escape with anyone in particular in terms of these choices that they're driving to. So we may believe that we're doing things right, but in essence we really are not, because we're being directed into a rolling prophecy, as I said earlier. And as the prophecy continues to roll, these particular decisions are being made in this manner. Okay, now we're going to go to 66:10. Okay, and read that one. Rejoice with Jerusalem and be glad because of her, all you who have loved her. Rejoice with her, all you who mourn over her, so that you may nurse and be satisfied from her consoling breast, that you may drink with delight at her abundant breast. So the Most High is telling us, says, and the precept to this is in Tobit, chapter 13. It says, O blessed are they which love thee, for they shall rejoice in thy peace. Blessed are they which have been sorrowful for all thy scourges, for they shall rejoice for thee when they love, seeing all thy glory, and shall be glad forever. So you can see the Most High is sharing the fact that there are blessings coming to those who are blessing His children who are chosen. And as those children wake up, there are many who are starting to bless and choose to bless us, because they know that the Most High will bless them in return. And He is showing that He's doing that. 66:13. As a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. In Jerusalem you shall find your comfort. 13 here is akin to Isaiah 40:1. Right? Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah 40 and 1. We're pretty much right here. All right. 40 and 1. Okay. There we go. Isaiah 40 and 1. Comfort ye, comfort ye, my people. Saith your power. Speak to comfortability to Jerusalem, and cry unto her that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of YAHAWAH power, the Lord, hand double for all her sins. Wow, isn't that awesome? I love the way the Father put that. Okay, 49 and 13. Okay, let's go to 49 and 13. Sing, O heavens, and be joyful, O earth, and break forth into singing, O mountains, for the Lord YAHAWAH power hath comforted his people, and will have mercy upon his afflicted. So we're getting some comfort and blessings from the Most High. And that is clearly being shown in many ways, even though we see turmoil and recompense happening to the lineage of the individuals who are created at this time for this particular prophecy that are happening. Even though they're going through the things that are terrifying to them, it is very much wonderful and a blessing and enlightening and a surety to us, because we love the fact that the Most High now is rendering salvation to us, even though we are still being subjugated and hidden by those individuals who were created for that purpose. It is good to know that. All right, I'm getting kind of long on this one, so I'm probably going to have to do a part 2. So because there's still quite a bit to go into. So let me just go ahead and touch a couple more, and then I'll kind of come out, and then we'll revisit this on a part 2, because we have to finish Obadiaying, the judgment and the justice of Isaiah chapter 66, and there's still a lot more to read in this chapter. Okay, so I'm going to touch 16 here, where it says here, 66:16 is, for with fire the Lord YAHAWAH shall enter into judgment, and with his sword against all flesh, those slain by YAHAWAH the Lord shall be many. And so that I want to go deeper into that one on 16. But 16 talks specifically into Levi, precept 11:29. These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, and the weasel and the mouse and the tortoise, and so on. 66:18. The precept to that is Isaiah 56:1. Thus saith YAHAWAH, keep ye judgment and do justice, for my salvation is near to come, and my righteousness to be revealed. 59:20 is, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith YAHAWAH power of the Lord. 66 verse 22. Isaiah is King Isaiah 65:17. For behold, I create new heavens and new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. Revelation, that's kin to Revelation 21:1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth have passed away. Isaiah 66:23 is kin to Isaiah 1:13. Bring no more vain oblation, incense. It is an abomination unto me. The new moons, the Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with it. This is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. So the Father's not having it anymore in terms of the way that we're presenting what we call righteousness to him. Isaiah 66:24 is kin to Isaiah 1:27-28, and I'll read some of that. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment, and her converts with righteousness, and the destruction of the transgressors and of the sinners shall be together, and they that forsake YAHAWAH shall be consumed. So This is what we got going on. This is what the Father's doing. So I want to just say, I hope this was good of a start blessing to you in this lesson. So YAHAWAH Shem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Atah Yahweh, and Shalom until part 2.